What is going on, guys? Hope everybody's having a fantastic day. My name is Davion. This is my channel about powerlifting, things of that sort. And this is going to be a video of my setup, first thoughts, and initial impressions of the Evolv AI powerlifting application. Any of you who have been a part of strength sports, powerlifting, weightlifting, anything like that, know that there's kind of a consistent race in new types of programming. And over the past couple of years, there's been a huge uptick in programming that is going to be around AI-based applications. So it's going to be taking different things that you input as a user, so RPEs within your lifting, taking a look at your sleep, your diet, things like that, that can actually then kind of tweak your day-to-day periodization, and then hopefully in the long term get you better results. So I've actually used similar applications in the past. However, when the Evolv AI application popped up, there seemed to be a few different tweaks that seemed to be a little bit interesting, so I wanted to give it a little bit of a shot. I'm actually 18 weeks out from my next powerlifting competition, which is going to be the Nevada State Championships in 2023. So I thought this could be a perfect time to maybe switch over, try a different application, and hopefully in the future I can maybe make a video going over some pros and cons of each of those applications and maybe some differences. I think ultimately at the end of the day, there's only so many ways that you can live, so there's probably going to be a lot more similarities than what we're actually thinking. So what I'm going to go ahead and do here is pull up my phone here. We'll start a little bit of a screen recording, and then we'll actually go through the first initial setups of the application. So this looks very similar to the other application, the Juggernaut AI application that I've used in the past. Starting off, it's going to say, are you going to be using pounds? Yes, and I am a male. We'll go ahead and click next. I already have my birthday as well as my body weight and height in here. I did mess with this a little bit, but I'm going to go through kind of a fresh setup with you guys now. I do plan on tracking my macros. My hope is to cut a little bit of weight and maybe compete in the 275-pound class, and then ultimately in the future get to a little bit more of a heavy weight class and probably go down a little bit lower. And I'm also going to select, I plan on losing weight while running this program as well. It's going to ask about my lifting career. This one is always interesting for me. Like a lot of people out there, consistency is always an issue. If I talk about when I was very first started lifting, this goes back to when I was in high school, very, very, very long time ago. So, but just for the sake of consistency, I'm probably just going to put 4 to 8 years because I've not remained consistent through the majority of that. I don't know how much that matters, since as you lift in this application, it's going to tweak it based upon your entries anyways. This here, your training history. So it's going to ask what type of training do you respond to better. So the different examples here is I respond better to low frequency and volume. I respond better to medium to low frequency and volume. I respond better to high frequency. I'm going to go ahead and select the middle here, which is going to be I respond better to medium frequency and volume. We'll click next from there. And then they also ask about your specific recovery as well. So do you recover slow? Do you recover fast? For me, I don't think that I'm at any end of that spectrum. So I'm going to go ahead and select I recover at a normal pace. For my hours of sleep, 5 to 7. I try to get around 7. I've been making a lot of strides to get closer to that 8 mark, which I do get sometimes, but more often than not, I think my average is a little bit above 7. So I'm going to leave it at 5 to 7. And then as far as your life stress, so do you have a low stress job, low activity lifestyle, low stress job, high activity lifestyle? Again, I'm going to go ahead and rate myself kind of in the moderate for both of those. So moderate stress job, moderate activity lifestyle. Next from there, and this is going to ask what type of program you actually want to do. So I will be selecting powerlifting. However, in the other application, in the Juggernaut AI, I did just get off of a 7-week power building phase as well, which is actually pretty cool. But because I'm getting ready for a meet, I'm going to go ahead and select powerlifting. However, in the future, I'll probably be running some additional power building blocks as well in preparation for future meets. It's going to take a look and ask what are the days of the weeks I like to lift. Right about now, I like to lift about 5 days a week. Luckily, I do have a garage gym. I also work from home, so it's a lot easier for me to kind of fit these liftings and in the mornings, maybe in lunch breaks if I need to. So 5 days is kind of the sweet spot for me. And as far as my starting date, I will be selecting today. So we'll click next from there. Testing of my strength. It's going to be a yes, and because I did run through this before, I did put in my meet date. So just for example's sake, if you don't have a meet on the kind of on the horizon, or if you don't even plan on lifting, you don't have to actually put in a meet date. You can just click no, and it'll kind of just test you from there, and it'll end up giving you kind of a test out date or a mock meet date at some point in the future. But I will be selecting yes because I do have a lifting competition on March 12th of 2023. We'll click next from there. It'll ask to confirm your date. periodization, I'll go ahead and select no so the app can kind of do its thing based upon the algorithms. Bridge block, I won't be doing a bridge block here. However, for those of you who maybe have a little more time before your meet, I think bridge blocks are actually pretty cool. You get a lot of different types of movements, less specific movements. I got things, a lot of farmer carries, sandbag carries, and things like that. That was a nice change of pace. And once I was done with my bridge block, I was actually pretty excited to get back into the normal lifting of things. So I won't be selecting a bridge block right now, but if you do have the time, I do think that it's potentially something that I suggest you look into. So we'll collect next from there. And then as far as my maxes here, I'll leave all this the way it is. This is everything from my last meet. 460 squat, 320 bench, 515 deadlift. We'll select next. Now it's going to ask about your specific styles in each of lifts. So I squat low bar, I bench standard grip, and I also pull conventional. So we'll go ahead and leave all that where it is. And now it's going to ask about your weaknesses. So I think this is a great thing for most apps. But for me, I don't know if I'm strong enough to really know where I stick at in those higher weights. For here, for my squat weakness, I think once I don't think I really have any issues with rounding over. Or in the past I maybe did, but once I started doing 70 bar squats, that kind of fixed that, but that's a whole nother story. For my bench, I would say mid-range, and also mid-range for my deadlift as well. I think my deadlift from the floor used to be weak in the past. However, I hammered a lot of deficit deadlifts kind of in my last blocks, and now I don't think I have too much of an issue with that. So we're going to kind of move those weak points around just to kind of get work on some other places. And now it just says get your program. So we'll go ahead and click that. We'll go ahead and let it do its thing. And yeah, and with the magic of editing, bada bing, bada boom. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. Huh. There you go. So I'm not really getting the scale along the top, but the workouts are there. So I assume it's just a little bit of maybe a little glitch in the app, but I'm sure it'll catch itself up in just a moment here. Unexpected error, restart app. Let's go ahead and do that here. We'll restart the app. Brand new app, technical issues, but everything is fine now. So we'll take a look here. And because this is one thing that I think I would love to be adjusted on these apps is to kind of select your day of the week start. So whether you like to start on Sundays or Mondays, me personally, I like Sunday to be kind of like my first lifting day of the week. I'm off on Sundays. It's normally a heavier day a lot of times. So I have to kind of get that first day out of the way. But for here, I'm actually not able to. So I won't be doing this day 5 on this week 1 because it's like a preparatory day. I'll be kind of skipping this workout and going straight into week 2, day 1, which is going to be a hypertrophy block. So if we actually go back, it's giving me a hypertrophy block, 2 strength blocks, and then a peaking phase into the competition. So if we actually take a look here, we can see what it's giving me for the first day. Safety bar squat, military press, and it's giving me an option to select a quad exercise, a posterior chain exercise, and an ab exercise. So I guess what we can go ahead and do in this video is I'll go ahead and select what I want to do for these here. Because I do lift in a home gym, I do have limited equipment, but I do think that these apps do a pretty good job of letting you change different movements, add movements if possible, to kind of really tailor and fit to your preferences and also the type of equipment that you do have available. So we'll go ahead and collect that quad exercise here. I would say for this, I would go ahead and select goblet squats. I'll go ahead and select goblet squats for the rest of the block here. The posterior chain exercise. Let's see, we have a couple different options. Back raise, band good mornings, dumbbell RDLs. I do like doing dumbbell RDLs, however, my dumbbells only go up to 60, which are kind of light for that. So I'm actually going to select banded good mornings for that movement. And then the last thing will be ab exercises. And these things are horrible, but I'm going to go ahead and select the ab wheel. So that's kind of how you go in and tweak the exercises and maybe add what you want. If you kind of go for, the rest of the weeks, it'll give you kind of your suggested movement, but you're able to adjust it. So if we take a look in day 2, I don't have an incline bench, so I would adjust my incline bench. So it's giving me an option for an extra wide bench, cambered bar bench, 3 count pause bench, and then a feet up bench. However, you're able to select more exercises from there, and then also add exercises if you have maybe a different type of equipment that's not available in the app. But for this specifically, I'll select that 3 count pause bench press, and then it kind of gives you an adjustment. I won't go through adjusting and going over all the different selections that I make from my other movements from there, but I'm very excited to see kind of what this app is going to be able to do. Like I said, I've used a very similar app in the past, but I want to kind of take a look and maybe see what was available through this one. So guys, thank you so much for taking a look at my first video. My plans will be to kind of record my workouts throughout the week, and at the end of the week I'll kind of do a overall recap video. And if anybody actually watches this or has any questions to ask me, please reach out, please let me know, and maybe I can answer any questions that you guys may have. But outside of that, hope you guys have a fantastic day and keep on lifting.